Hi everyone, this is Dash of Dave here. It's been a while since I've done any crafty videos, but I've had a few people ask me how I go about making my version of playing cards, altered playing cards. So these are giant cards. These are some of the things that I've been posting recently, and people have just said, well, you know, what did I do? How have I gone about it? And I'm just going to show you my take on them. Okay, so I've made a few, as you can see, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. If you saw what was behind me, you'd know where all the playing cards had gone in the world anyway. So playing cards, what can you use? Okay, so you can use any playing cards you like. You can use playing cards, you can use beer mats, or drinks mats, very popular in the UK. Most pubs have a beer mat. Most people have picked one up, probably peeled it apart while they're having a drink with somebody, or played a game with them. That's the thing where you flip it and you catch it and that sort of thing. Flashcards, or this is actually another type of game card, or you've got tea cards or cigarette cards. But playing cards, they come in lots of different sizes. These are a few that I've got from the teeny tiny. I haven't got giant hands. That's actually a teeny tiny one. Then there's another miniature one. That's a standard size playing card. And then we've got the large ones. I like the large ones because they're a bit different. Okay, so without further ado, let's have a play with one of the larger ones to start with. Okay, so it's not really going to be a tutorial. I'm just going to kind of go through with you the kind of things that I do, have a bit of a crafty chat along the way, and we'll go from there. And if there's any questions you specifically want answering, then, you know, put them in the comments below and I'll try and answer them for you. But I don't really foresee there being a huge amount of questions. I think like most of it is fairly, from my perspective, fairly straightforward, but absolutely I'm here to help and I'm willing to help as well. So okay, so what do I use? Well, my basic technique is that I use some kind of napkin in the background. Okay, so when I say some kind of napkin, I've got loads of napkins. I think that's become one of the things these days. I can't go into a shop now without picking up some kind of a napkin. Okay, so when I'm talking about having something in the background, because it's in the background, you kind of want it to blend in, okay, but have some kind of interesting element. Now I'm going to use this one. Okay, so what layer of napkin? Okay, most napkins that you buy are 3-ply. Okay, so by 3-ply I mean when you peel it, you get it apart. I was trying to do that again, Dave. There you go. When you peel it, this is your first layer. Okay, so the under layer. Okay, and that's basically just white tissue paper. Not very exciting, but don't throw it away. There's loads of uses for it, and in fact I might use it in a few minutes. Then we have the next layer. Okay, so we'll peel that and we can get this next layer. Now this is the layer that I'm going to be using. Okay, peel it apart, Dave. Get your act together. It's not terribly interesting, is it, watching somebody peel a napkin? Okay, so obviously keep hold of that layer because that's the interesting patterned layer. Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, but it's this layer. If you can see, it's got like a bleed through of the top layer, the printed layer, and that's the bit that we want. Okay, so what do we need next? Okay, so there are a variety of ways that you can do this. Okay, you can use a watered down Mod Podge. Okay, you can use Mod Podge as it is. I tend to find with Mod Podge that it has almost like a glass-like quality to it, and when you flex it, it can like shatter, break up, that sort of thing. So I prefer watered down PVA for this, because when you're flexing the cards, you don't want it to go. I don't like the texture of Mod Podge. I don't mind PVA glue on my fingers, but I just don't like the texture of Mod Podge on my fingers, especially when it's dried. Anyway, so what I tend to use though is I tend to be a bit like boring, and I'm just going to use that as background. I tend to use, not boring, but I tend to go like cheap, and I use a glue stick. This is from Tesco. I do not sponsor Tesco. However, if they would like to sponsor me, that's entirely up to them. So for this one, I'm going to do the whole shebang. So just go all the way over the card. You can probably see from a better angle than I can whether I've missed a bit. A bit of a wiggle in the light and see if you've got it all. Don't worry too much if it's not completely covered. It gives you a different dimension. And then what you do is you lay it on. Okay, there's the perforated bit around the edge, and most people think that's going to leave you a pattern. I tend to find that it doesn't. Once you've smoothed this all out, nobody's going to see that. So be effective. I use just a plastic card. This was actually one in some Happy Mail. I think it's German. Doesn't matter what one you use. Don't worry about these folds in it. If you're really not happy with the folds, then to a certain extent you can gently, catchy monkey, peel it back. There you go, and you've got it all on now. So the reason why I like that middle layer is because look at this, you get a lovely pattern. Now if I'd used that would have been too strong, and it would have obliterated the whole of the background. So you can cut round it, or you can use an emery board. Look at the state of this emery board. You certainly wouldn't want to be doing your nails with that. So. I tend to find if you just do that, then it'll kind of peel away anyway. So, what have I been up to? Not a lot. Had some issues with my car recently. I don't know whether some of you might know. My car's called Bruce, as in Bruce the Moose Mobile. That's my name's Moose. Well, nickname's Moose. Hence my Instagram being called Crafty Moose. Gets very confusing. Dasher Dave, Crafty Moose. Most people call me either Dave or Moose or Davey, but nobody ever calls me David and survives. So yes, my car's Bruce has been having a few problems. I've got one of his alloys has got some damage to it and needs a repair. I can't afford to replace them, but like £600 or something for a set of them. I don't think so. So it's a Kia. It's not a luxury vehicle. Heaven only knows how much the luxury vehicles are. Anyway, so back to this card. We've got to this stage. Okay, so you might be absolutely happy with that and leaving it like that, and then starting to add additional layers. But if you look at these cards that I have produced before, you can see they're kind of a bit grungy. That one perhaps not quite so much. Now what do you do? Now you can either just grunge it up and get one of your daubers and maybe get some ink on it, Dave. That would be a really good start. Let's see, where are we? Vintage photo. Vintage photo tends to be my go-to. There's the right dauber, Dave. And you can go over, you can come in and make it as dark or as light as you like, and a bit of like jiggling while you go. You can go right over it. I actually like them when they're not overly covered, but when you kind of fairly got some creamy coloured background to it, because I think it just gives it a bit more of an aged look. You want it to look like it's been around a while. So you can age it up like that. Okay, so let's move those out of the way. Okay. So you could then like layer it up from there. That's entirely up to you, but what I then like to do is I like then to have another bit more of a decorative layer. So we'll come back to these. I actually was quite drawn to this one today, so I think I'm going to go with that. So again, taking your napkin apart. Nobody wants to see me do this on camera, but I just don't have one of these ready. I mean, like, if you're very dexterous, as you can clearly see I am not, you might be able to peel it apart. There we go. Peel that layer off. So, yes, so my car, Bruce, needs one of his shoes doing. So I've been looking into getting either some new alloys, which have now been discounted at that price, or getting them refurbished or repaired. So that's the current state that I'm in. Currently what I'm doing is I'm having to pump my tyre up every day, which you can imagine gets a little bit annoying. But you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? Just tearing this apart, one of the things I will say is not all napkins have the bleed through. So that's that middle layer on this one, and it doesn't have anything, but it's got a pretty edge, and you know, you might use that in some way, or you might just be like me and be a hoarder and just keep everything anyway. So my craft room is stuffed to the gills. Okay, so what do I want to do? So I like to give it a rip first. It's quite square for me. I like having a bit of texture, like it's been around a while. And again, sticking it down, all I'm going to do is use glue. So don't worry about going over it and the glue drying without sticking anything down. Once it's dried, you won't notice, and once you put all your layers on, nobody's really going to be able to tell. So I'm not very articulate today for some reason. Again, put that on there, and your card, and glue it down. If you're doing this and it rips, hey, you know what? It all adds to it, doesn't it? It's about creating layers and texture, and see, look, that bit there is just not very straight, but if you give it a pull, it'll either pull apart or it'll stick down, one of the two. So, and if you feel that it's not got any tissue underneath, any glue underneath it, then just give it a bit of a touch up, and it'll, oh, there you go, it's peeled away. So, problem solved. So again, I don't like it too perfect, so if it starts to come through, that's fine. Try not to be too precious about it. We're trying to create that aged look, and if you start trying to make things perfect, it stops looking aged and starts looking like you've made it look old, if you see what I mean. through age, you know, there is no perfection. So it's life, isn't it? Nothing's perfect. So I will just say the one thing you will end up is like having bits of glue all over you, and you'll probably go to the shops with a bit of, you know, tissue stuck to your elbow, or not tissue, what's it called, Dave? Napkin. Okay, so that bit's come off there. Rather than it just being sticking up, I'm going to stick it down and not worry about it. Again, we've peeled up here, but you know, I'll rub over with a nice bit of this. Obviously not now, because what you'll end up doing is you'll get all the glue transferring onto this, and then this goes there. Nobody wants to use it. Okay, so we've got that on there. Okay, so you can stop there. Absolutely, stop there if you want to. No, stop there. Why would I, when I've got more? I've got lots of different types of napkins, so you could have an element of that on there in the corner, maybe. It's not the they're probably all screaming at me saying, put the bunny on it, but no, it's this edge I quite like. So now to peel these apart, so you know how to take the layers off, but if you want to, this is when I find out that my water brush is dry. Oh, it is. What a surprise. Have my water brush on. No, there we go. Got my water pen. So this is, you probably have seen these are water brushes. This is a version of that. This is Daler and Brownie, and it's a paint marker. So basically you're supposed to fill these up with paint, but all it is it's a push tip, and I've just got water in mine. They're refillable, so and they have a little ball in them, because if you want to put pigment in there, you can shake it up. So what I do is I just go round the edge, not trying to be terribly perfect about it, grabbing the bits that I want. Might go up onto this flower, over to here. We'll see what we use of that. Okay, and that should enable you to peel this apart. You might already know this technique, and if you don't, you've just learned something new. And as an ex-teacher, I feel my job is done. If you've learned something new, my job is done. So, put your lid back on, Dave. Put that over there. And then, if you can patiently peel it apart. Oh, do you know, sometimes you just think, why? And I really don't have the patience for this. Can I do it? I've nearly done it. Oh, there you go. Done it. And I've peeled the top layer. So that's the middle layer there, and then there's a bottom layer on that, but they're kind of peeled apart nicely. So, okay, so I was thinking maybe if we had it that way on here. I'm kind of trying to pick up a bit of, there's a bit of the blue in it, there's a bit of the pink. I kind of like that. Honestly, it's not a, please don't try and be perfect, because it doesn't exist. Perfection, it's one of those things that you just need to stop trying to pursue. Anyway, lecture over, back to the crafting, Dave. So, and I craft because it helps. Well, I like the results I get, but it also helps me with my mindfulness. So those of you that don't know, I'm autistic, and I struggle to fit in, and you know, perfectly intelligent and capable of just, nobody gave me the rule book on how to do the social stuff, so and I don't know where to get that rule book from. If you're really gentle with, when you've just glued something down, you can kind of drag it over to the edge if you've missed the edge. So There you go. Just rectified that. So yeah, I struggle to fit in, and I find it really good for my mental health. And if you do small projects like this, even better for your mental health, because in today's world, you rarely get to finish anything. My job means that I work I work in facilities and resources basically, and I manage a team of people, and we do a lot of things, but we don't get any gratitude for it. You know, it's the stuff that goes on in the background, the stuff that you take for granted when you go into a place of work, like, you know, all the lighting's on and the heating works, and, you know, the fleet cars are there, and all of that stuff that people take for granted. But currently I'm the guy that's sorting all of that out. My team, when I say I manage a team, my team are all currently furloughed, so still furloughed. So there you go. Now we're starting to build up layers. Now what I don't want to do is, I know that some people want to kind of use these as pieces of card and you obliterate the whole of the background. I don't see that as any point. You could use a piece of ordinary card, cut it to the same size if you want to completely obliterate it. I want it to still look like it's a playing card. Okay, now I can't put that back in there. I have. When I say I can't, I have. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a bit of a blast, just to kind of try and dry off some of that glue. I would suggest that you let it dry naturally, put it to one side, but obviously watching glue dry is akin to watching paint dry. It's not very exciting. When you glue down your napkins, you want to tear it with a frayed edge, because it blends in much better. If you'd had a really hard edge to this, your eye would be drawn to that line, whereas if it's like feathered in, your eye isn't. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to go over with a bit of this. Ooh, okay, we'll peel that off a bit. Maybe that needs a bit more glue, Dave. If you can't direct glue like I've just tried to do there, then what I tend to do is I have some wet glue. Now I know that Arlene's glitter glue is the thing that America, Canada, you guys all tend to use. Here in the UK, I've never seen Arlene's glitter glue or whatever it's called in the UK. This is what I like to use. Okay, this is by Pinflair, and it's bookbinding glue, and it grabs like that. Okay, so once you've used it, it will stay stuck down. I just decant it into some of these little bottles that are available from AliExpress. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy 10 of these on Amazon, and I think in the UK they're about 10, maybe £15 on AliExpress. 10 of them are £2, so you might have to wait eternity for them to come, but at least they're cheaper. And as you can tell, I don't like spending money, as that's why Bruce isn't going to get any new shoes. He's going to get some reconditioned ones instead. So going around the edge, just breaking it up a bit. I also want to get rid of this, so I'm just going to go in with my emery board, just kind of sand those loose bits off. You see how it makes it just look so much more real? If you haven't got a hard edge on the side of it, it just makes it look more realistic. Again, it's kind of peeling here, so you can either just peel it off or just give it a sand back. This is another bit where it's just coming up. Whoa, try and keep the dauber on the table, Dave. Okay, and just going to go in, make it look bit grungy. This might be too dirty for you. You might think, oh, I don't know, I like it nice and clean and crisp, and that's fine. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you some ideas, okay? So we've got this layer. Now, you might want to stop there, okay? Guess what? I don't. So let's have a look at what other napkins. Now, if I pull these out, there is no point you shouting at the camera, use that one, use that one. I can't tell, it's not interactive and we're not live. Okay, so I quite like the birdie. Get the birdie, get the birdie, and put it in the pen. There's another birdie, but I've used that in a few things of late, so no, that's too meh. Fox, I do like a fox, but not on the, I might use that. And then there's this one. The colour's quite nice, tonally they're quite nice. Just think it might be too big. I said maybe that, didn't I? That, we've used that one, put that over there. Okay, so do I want to use this? And I could have that. Yeah, so maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one. And I did have a piece of sellotape there. Okay, so yeah, so I've been working hard all the way through lockdown. Oh, that peeled nicely. That's perfect. That's like meant to be. Okay. Yeah, so I've been working all the way through lockdown in the UK because, you know, although we haven't got many people in buildings, people still want their buildings to run with the lights on and all that. So strange. I don't know why they want the lights on. So I think, let's see, I might have, yeah, I think I quite like that element there. So yes, I've been working, keep lights on, keep buildings going, keep vehicles running, making sure that they go for their MOTs and just all the stuff that you do in the background. Like I say, now I used to be a teacher, so like I've gone from being in the limelight to being like the stagehand. So it's a strange world. But you know, if I'd been a teacher, still I would have probably been furloughed because I was an adult learning teacher, and our adult learning department closed because you couldn't teach anybody. You couldn't, like, not that they couldn't learn, but we couldn't physically have them in the building. So maybe I'll have it that way. Actually, this is another thing. You don't have, just because the napkin is printed that way up, you can turn it that way round, and it kind of it mutes it down, but that's kind of nice. What we're trying to do is have like depth to it. So I'm probably going to use it that way round. So yes, gone from being in full limelight to being completely in the background, which I do miss being in the limelight, I will just say. I've always been, I might be autistic, but I've always been quite gregarious and showy. I think like that, maybe. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I like being the centre of attention. I just don't know how to hold your attention after that. I can't speak to you because no idea what to say to you. I don't know how to keep the conversation going. I never know what to talk about. It doesn't come naturally to me. People say that I'm funny. I'm not intentionally funny. Maybe they mean I'm funny peculiar. Who knows? Oh well. So then leaving somebody else alone, that's all that matters. So yeah, so I manage my mental health through craft. I think that's what I was saying. This is probably the reason why I find it hard to make friends, because I find it hard to keep in my head what I was talking about. Digression by Estee Lauder. Oh, I don't know. There might even be a digression by Estee Lauder, and I really apologise. I'm not sponsored by Estee Lauder either. I just remember Estee Lauder from my childhood. I think all my aunties and my grandma used to wear Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder Red Door rings a bell for some reason. I don't. Is that actually a product? A fragrance? Estee Lauder Red Door. I think that's what my auntie used to like. So she probably still likes it. She's 91. I don't think she goes many places to wear it, but she's still fit as an ox. As is my mother, who is 87 this year, born in 1933. Yeah, 87 this year. See, look, this is what happens. You throw it in the bin and it comes back. Stay, go, stay, go, stay, buy, sell. Sorry, I do, like I say, I digress a lot. I just need a sip of water. Cheers. Now when I lean forward, my moustache will drip onto the page, so I apologise for that. That does happen. So now we've got all this white on here. Let's just make sure it's not too wet. Let it dry off. You're adding interest, so don't worry. Like, I used the more punchy pattern and that's kind of disappearing in the background. That's great because you're actually creating layers. Which gives you depth. So get my faithful Dorba the house elf. Oh, we don't talk about her anymore, do we? Yes. J.K. Rowling, how to shoot yourself in the foot. So anyway, yeah, so let's sand that bit off. So yeah, what you're trying to do is create depth, layers, make it look old, vintage, you know, sand it back. There's bits you're not happy about, just give them a bit of a sand and, like, you know, you might be more happy about it. So don't try to go for perfection. If you accidentally sand off a few of the petals, what the hell, like me, just on camera I've sanded off a few petals. This might happen when you start rubbing down with things. You're trying to get, you know, normally on paper you'd give them a rub and you'd get more out of it. When you start rubbing with these on this that you've just glued down, because the card is likely to have a coating on it, you're probably going to start peeling things off. So instead of rubbing more on by pressing it down, put more on your brush. On your brush, on your door, but Dave, get your words out. I have always had a problem with worms. Not worms. I don't have a problem with worms. I don't have a problem with worms. I have a problem with words. Talk about giving away too much information. No, I don't have a honestly, you don't believe me now, do you? I don't have a problem with worms. I just have a problem with words. Oh, make myself cry. I might need to use this layer of tissue paper to mop up my tears. I just need to check you're all still on camera and everything. Yes. Oh dear. Yeah, I am gonna just excuse me a minute while I just. Yes. Yeah, which doesn't. It's not great, is it? For a teacher not being able to get your words out. But hey ho. I've always had a good sense of humour about these things, and if The amount of faux pas I've had in class is, oh, it's a good job I taught adults. It's all I can say. So which one of these do I want to use? Are they all the same? Are they just looking? They're just looking in different directions, aren't they? So, which direction do we want them looking? I think I like that. I was initially drawn to that cluster. So, not a nut cluster, but that cluster. I don't want to go for the whole thing. What is on my map? Who knows? Yeah, don't try and colour it in because it just makes it difficult. And if it starts getting a bit dry, give it a press and it'll get more out. With these water brush ones, you just give the body a bit of a squeeze. Don't squeeze like that, otherwise you end up with Niagara Falls and somebody loses a beak and it's, you know, it's all over then, isn't it? So anyway, I can't even remember where my brain was. Where was my brain? Oh dear. This is dried up. It's like painting the Forth Bridge. It's dried up by the time we got round to the other side. Okay, there we go. There we go there, Dave. Give it a stretch. And yeah, it's breaking. It's breaking. It's breaking in a good way. It's not breaking as in broken breaking. Broken breaking. Or I've just heard me dog grumbling, so he might be up. He might be coming up the stairs. Which means that he might come in and start wagging his tail and bashing things. Oh, and actually, just as I speak, it's like I know him. He's here. See? So the banging and the crashing that you hear in the background is Worcester breaking things. You're a good boy. Was somebody upset you? If they walk past the house? Oh dear, that's a shame. I love him to bits though, so... Hello, good boy, what are you doing? I'm doing a video though, Worcester. So you have to go and lie down. Go and lie in that lovely sunshine. Go and lie on my bed and lie in that lovely sunshine. Okay, so. Oh, you smell. You smell. You're tap dancing now, are you? Sorry about this, whilst on video. Okay, so. I've put this layer down. Good boy. There's a good boy. Can have a treat later. He's been a very good boy today. So. Yeah, I like it. I'm not sure I like it where I wanted it though. Oh no, I quite like that. I might get rid of some of this blue. So if you're going to tear it dry, I would suggest, I'm not teaching you to suck eggs here, I would suggest hold pinched between your fingers the bit you want to keep and pull away the other bits. Otherwise, you'll end up finding the bit that you wanted to keep. If you just try and tear it, it just rips into it. You'll also find that it tears easier one way than it does the other. And that's just because of the natural grain in the manufacturing process. Oh, look, it's suddenly gone very dark. I don't know whether you noticed that. As I told him to go and lie on the bed, the sun went in. So... Poor Worcester is now lying on the bed without the sun. Oh, what a hardship that is, lying on my bed. Anyway, so yeah, just hold on to the bit that you want to keep, or the sun's come back out again. So I apologise at the disco lighting. The sunshine has decided to do that for me for added dramatic effect. Remember to keep hold of it. Try not to pinch with your gluey fingers. You might find yourself never being able to let go of that napkin. When I say never, I mean not never, but until you wash your hands, which I hope you're doing quite frequently because of the old virus. We won't talk about that though. It's had far too much media attention as far as I'm concerned. I like to be in the limelight. So... although I don't think I'd want a virus named after me. So, yeah, so pinching. Get off me. This is when pinching is good. So, all that pinching as a child wasn't good. What is it about kids that want just like pinching people? So, oh, we nearly lost his chest. Let's try and hold on to his beak. Okay, and again, just pinching around here. Don't try and cut it out in this way. It's not going to help. It's not going to work. I mean, so again, he's having problems with his words. There's no z on the end of words, but words. You know what I do like? I have to say, I love watching, I watch a lot of craft videos, and there are a few people that I specifically watch. I think like most of us watch, not all, but most of us watch Gail. I'm not even going to try and pronounce her surname. It begins with A, and yep, I'll murder that one. So Gail, Pam at the Paper Outpost, Nick the Booksmith, obviously internationally famous, everybody knows her, and Shappy Dabby Doodah are the ones that I mainly watch. And what I really love is I love accents. I think the reason why I can watch some videos and not others is because the accent, I'm really tuned into accents. Anyway, so without further ado, or without further ado, get this stuck on there, Dave. I'm not completely happy about the colour of that at the minute, so I might just come in and put a bit more on. Rub a bit off on the mat. Actually, for a bit more subtlety, let's use me brush. Use me brush. Yeah, that's better. I can get a bit more, get the colour on that I want without it being too dark. Yeah, apparently you can buy these as craft brushes, but you can't guess where I get mine from. AliExpress. So much cheaper and just as good, and I can tell you now they'll be where the people that you buy them from are buying them from. I can do these. I can tell you about these things because I don't have my own craft range to sell. Maybe one day, but I've had my stint on TV demonstrating other people's products. You never know, I might be demonstrating my products one day in the future. Watch this space. Well, don't watch this space because it won't be on here. So, again, I'm just going to rub this on. So, where did we want it? We want it there, don't we? I want the branch kind of hanging off so it looks like it's not just, they're not just floating in midair. Although they're birds, they can. Not when they're like that though. They tend to drop like stones if they just stop flapping their wings, don't they? So be all the way stuck down. Possibly not. Get in there with a bit of glue. Stick that bit down. I'm not working to a plan here, by the way. I'm just kind of going with it because that's why apparently I have a style. People can tell it's my style, but I don't have a clue what I'm doing, basically. I just go with it. You can tell it's been done by me, but there isn't like I can't reproduce. I couldn't make two of the same. So that's on there. Okay, again, got a bit hanging over the edge. Give it a file off or chop it off with your scissors. Okay, again, I'm going to give it a bit of a dry. Put your lid back on your glue, Dave. So I'll try not to talk to you too much while I'm doing this because you probably can't hear me. Yeah, that's fine. So Now what we want to do is we want to, squeaky, squeaky. We want to, I might use some antique linen. Sorry, this is antique linen. This was vintage photo. Might use some antique linen on this one just to, I don't want it to completely fade out. But I do want it to blend in. One of my things for me is I've never been afraid to put colour on things. I am not afraid of colour. I have a 4th cone, so I see colour in a bigger depth of field to other people. Terrible eyesight in the dark though, I will just say. Apparently that's quite notorious with people, us 4th coners. So I know that quite it's them worms are back, aren't they? A high proportion of men are colourblind. However, I seem to have got their share. I'm not happy about that bit there, so just give it a bit of a... Oh. Let's make it worse, shall we? Okay, what we'll do... There you go. It's fine. Okay. If it really bugs you and that happens, like it's starting to bug me, okay, best thing to do, grab a bit of tissue paper, okay, like this, and make sure we get that feather end. I don't know why I've suddenly got a southern accent. And then just do this and just pop it over the top. And then pick it up, Dave. Stick it over the top. Keep it away from the bits that you've just taken painstakingly layered up. And then if it's worried you all that time, when I say worried, I mean obviously I hope you haven't been up all night worrying about it. Dry it off before I do it, Dave. Yeah, so if it's really bugged you, it's great. It's about layers, isn't it? We don't mind. Oh, I do love a glue gun. I do love a hot gun for that. There we go. Get rid of the bits. You can tell where it's kind of stuck down better because it's less white. It kind of gets a bit more transparent. And if you kind of just give it a light sand, no real pressing on this, just light sanding, and then we're gonna go over it, and we just want to now just blend it to being a similar color to the background. Where's my, there it is. There you go. You can kind of like blend in a bit more if you want to make it a bit darker. And okay, so remember we're trying to make it look old. I think we've achieved that. So this is where we currently are. Okay, there's a blob there that again it's going to drive me insane with. A bit of surgery. Scalpel. What is that stuck to there? It feels like a bit of dog hair. I think it might be a bit of dog hair, to be fair. There you go. That's gone. So we currently are. Okay. So I'm liking it. I think it looks a lot nicer than we started out with. Okay, so what do we want to do? Okay, now you see if I put that on, that's going to obliterate These are really good alternative to Timmy's paper dolls. If you go to any thrift store, if you're transatlantic, if you're in the UK, it'll be a charity shop. Go to a charity shop, you can pick these kind of things up for pennies, okay? Buy some of these, cut them out, and they make great alternatives. I use them a lot. But because I don't want to obliterate, we might use a paper doll. What have we got here? Don't think about just using one. If you want to use a group of people, then use a group of people. I like him there. Always leaning on the bird's head. What does he look like on there? Oh, I like that one. I don't know. He's got nothing to sit on at the minute though, so I might have to give him something to sit on. And then this is when you get a chance to get out of it. No, far too bright. It gives you a chance to get lots of different things. Oh, that goes really well, doesn't it? I like the bird, but I'm going to keep the bird for another thing. Maybe if he had a flower to sit on. Not sure. What's that? Oh, it's a fox. Hold it the right way up, Dave. Be a shame if I lost the fox though. Maybe we could have it that way. Okay. So I do like him, but I really think he needs to sit on something. Maybe if we had a sentiment on there. Excuse me, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go and get the sentiments. They're in here. Are they in here then? Are they in this one? Oh dear, got falling outage. Mushroom, maybe a mushroom. No, although we could darken it down, I don't know. We could do with a few different sizes though, right? Keeping it organic. I don't know. I'm not convinced. Where are we? Where are they? Where are we? Where is it all? Where's it all gone? I think these are... I don't know. I can't remember. I'm rubbish. I need to put the names in who these belong to. I will put it in the link below. I'll tell you who they belong to. All these things that when they come on a sheet, I use my scan and cut to cut things out. I don't mess around, you know. I'm not at home to fussy cutting. Clearly not a fussy cutter. I quite like that. Nice arrangement. I do still feel I've got room for something else up here. And yeah, here are my words. That's definitely one that's a me thing. Colours are there to be used. I might use that actually. That's the word I'm going to use. These are mine. These are ones that I've created, so they're not, they're just interesting words like discombobulate. I love that word, discombobulate, and then a kind of definition of what it is, gobbledygook jargon. Yeah, so they're just ones that I've done. I was going to put that over there. No. Okay, so maybe I don't know whether I like the blandness of it all. If you're all sat there going, oh, just do it, then I apologise, because I'm not a procrastinator. I just know what I like. That's what it is. I know what I like. Oh, forest, maybe. Oh, and now you see that's a bit nicer, isn't it? It's a bit more punchy. A bit punchier in the colours. Maybe a smaller one. Oh, I quite like that. All that. I don't know. No, we're not going to use the. As much as I am a fun guy, I'm not going to use those. Sorry, I'm here for the poor jokes. That's what I'm here for. Where are they now? Oh, things are falling out. It's like a cascade. So, I think I like that one the best. Again, I like to give it a bit of an age before I stick it down. From my perspective, I just think if you spent all this time aging everything else up, you don't want to put something on it that makes it look really new. So give it a bit of age. Yeah, I still like it like that. Again, with these you get a solid white, cardboard edge, so I just give these a bit of an age as well. So we are going to have him there. We're going to have that there, and I think we are going to have colours are there to be used on there. Okay, yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. So for this, I either use Fabri-Tac, okay, or Pinflair. And on this occasion, I'm going to use Pinflair. The other thing I like to do on these is these can become a bit one-dimensional, so I like to give them a bit of body on their body, and same with their head. Just gives it a bit of an interest, gives them a bit of shape. I could do with a bit of getting in shape. So, if I can't do it for myself, I can do it for somebody else. This fella here will have a bit more shape to him than I've got. And, it's very subtle. Especially by the time you glue it down, it'll be very subtle, but I just think it kind of makes it. We've just spent all that time adding extra layers and things, so we want it to still look very, like it's got a lot of depth to it. Of course, if you're going to put some shape to something, there is no point putting glue down the middle because it's not going to make any contact. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you get it down the edges, and you're all glad that I didn't choose to be a surgeon now, aren't you? Because I don't have a steady hand. Maybe that's why I don't enjoy fussy cutting. My hand is not steady. Also, I tend to find that I can't glue and talk because I'd have my tongue out most of the time. So we are going to put you, fella. You look like you perched on the branch with them birds, but hey, never mind. Sharing's caring. I'll stick you down like that. Get a nice grab on this glue so you won't have to kind of like hold it for too long. He says, holding it for too long. There we go. And then we'll get our, now these aren't, I've just printed these on normal cards so they're not peelable. Put it on the right way up. I've done that a few times. That'll make added interest to when somebody looks at a journal card. When they think, hang on a minute, is that not upside down? Now is that not wonky? Oh, well, it might be a bit wonky. Yeah, very good grab. That was almost stuck. There we go. That's that. Okay, now do I want anything to finish the edge off? So I'm not a big fan of lace. I will be very honest with you, I'm not a big fan of lace. Maybe it's a man thing, but I don't know. I don't feel confident about it. You see, I like things like this. This is that, some of that gum strip stuff that you used to be able to get, and I don't know whether you can still get them, but it's got a barcode on it, so it can't be that old. 87, I think, barcodes were being used. I might not have all of that. What I like about this is it looks like a bit more of a torn edge to it. It looks like it's come apart at some point, and sorry, I was licking, and it's had to be glued back down. What I like about this, stick it on, turn it round, okay, hand it in. Which, you know, it kind of makes sense, you know, if you're going to be fondling cards and things, not fondling, but if you're going to be handling cards and things a lot, then they do get worn out, don't they? And it's possible that, I mean, I as a child, I remember playing cards that had been sellotaped and glued and stuck to another piece of paper. Oh, stop squeaking that, Dave. There we go, that's that. Okay, and put the pin back in there, Dave. In the bottle, not in your finger. Okay. So, I like the punchiness of this. So we'll just give it an edge, though. Colours are there. Where do I want to cut it? Colours are there to be. Colours are there to be, yes. There's a snip. Okay, I know it's sticky, but I give it a bit of a stick as well. These are words by Leonie. I think printed by Clarity, if I'm not mistaken, which I could well be mistaken. Colours are there to be. Where do I want to put it there? Sorry about the noise in the background as well. My neighbours have been, goodness only knows what they're making. I think they're actually building a ship, because it sounds like they've been doing it for a long time. Where do I want that? So you need your substitute for tiny fingers. I don't have tiny fingers, so I use one of these instead. Where do I want it? I want it. I know it's very subtle there, I think. Yeah. Okay, so there we have it. Now, you know, a bit more of a blend in. Don't mind this bit standing out, because I think, you know, it does. We want it to say something. Okay, so there we go. So that is a card. That's a playing card. Here's one that I started doing something with, but this is how they looked before, and this is where we currently are. Okay, you could add more to this. You could put some like embellishments on, a little cabochon or something. And these are ones that I've made myself by using some dried flowers. Well, they weren't actually dried flowers, they were just flowers that I encased in a bit of glue. And you know, this is how they've turned out. Oh, look at that. Don't know whether, where's me back to that? No, maybe another project. Or you could actually put some actual dried flowers on. No, I think I'm going to leave it as it is, Dave. Quite like it, but it's just too much, I think, now. Yeah, it looks like it's a squirrel with a tail if you do that, don't you? Yeah, so leave it at that. So I'm actually happy with that. Okay, so what do you do for the back? Back, easy, you know, use a bit of book page, bit of coffee dyed paper, just tear it, stick it on if you want to make it into a journal card. Leave it as it is, grunge it up, make the edges a bit more grungy. But yeah, that's it. So basically that's my take on an altered playing card. Put your lid back on your glue, Dave. So yeah, if you want to know anything, not anything, I mean, I can't help you with, like, you know, how do I solve a problem like Maria. I can't help you with things like that, but I can help you with this. So these, I like I say, I have a style, and I'm aware I have a style. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a style. You can go a lot more grungy. On this one, I sewed it as well. Put some decorative paper on the back. What was on the back of this? Nothing. So I've left that one. This here was just from a dry cleaning order. I think it says it needed to be. There was a stain on the seat of the trousers. So satin, something you always do. It's typical. It's always something that has to be dry cleaned as well, isn't it? Yeah, so a few more layers. This is some scrap ribbon, scribbon. I can't remember what they call it. Snippet ribbon, that's it. And again, just a piece of paper on the back. This is using a wax seal that I gilded. See, I did use some lace on this one. This one is using one of those, I think this was a Buttericks one. This is using one of those with including the pattern name on it. And yeah, Tim Holtz again, good old Timmy. Although you put Timmy's name on something and the price instantly quadruples. So anyway, that's it. So like I say, don't stop there. You can use anything, any cards. Don't be limited. Even if you've only got some cardboard, don't limit yourself. Don't say, oh, I don't have any of that, so I can't, because you can. You've got so much stuff. You really don't know until you start pulling it out. And go ahead, have a play, and I'll see you another day. Oh dear, that rhymed. And I'm a poet and I didn't know it. I'm not very good with worms, but I'm a poet and didn't know it. All right, you guys, you have a lovely day. Take care. Big crafty hugs to you. Kisses too. There you go, third, cheeky. And I will see you again sometime soon. thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it if you watch my videos. I love it when you comment, and I'll always reply to you. I put a post on Facebook a few weeks ago, and I think I had 127 people comment, and I replied to every single one of those. So I'm grateful for everybody that subscribes. If you like what I've been doing, then, you know, like it, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you'll get to know when I post anything new. I am going to be doing some more. I'm going to be doing a lot more crafty tutorials, demonstrations, craft alongs, that sort of thing, because people keep asking for them. So, you know, who am I to say no? So anyway, I'll shut up now. So, like I say, spread the word of kindness. Have a really good crafternoon. And I love you all. Take care. Stay safe. And I'm here whenever you need me. If you like to listen to my dulcet tones. So give me a like, click subscribe, and click the bell icon. I'll speak to you very soon. There you go. You've had 5 kisses in this. Right, you better go now. People will talk about us. Clear off. Thank you. Bye. Bye.